When I first got into the business of helping people cultivate conversation skills, I ran into a lot of skepticism. Invariably, executives would scoff at the idea of housewives' trivial initiative to overcome boredom. Then I would get clandestine calls for assistance from folks with prestigious titles. People would construct elaborate convert operations to seek advice without actually asking for it because they were embarrassed. I can appreciate that. In a previous life as a nerdy engineer, I was burdened with poor social skills, embarrassed by my own conversational apt- aptitude. Before I gave myself a remedial education in the fine art of small talk, I had been a poor communicator and a timid person for as long as I would recall. As a girl, I had been overweight, reticent kid who sat invisible in the back of the class, often excluded because of my size. One of the most vivid memories of a childhood is that of a birthday party for my third grade classmate Rita. Every girl in my class was invited except for one other very overweight girl and me. The experience was so hurtful that I withdrew into a world of books. I had no idea how to make friend or have a friend. Consequently, I learned how to talk to my peers. Naturally, when I got older, I selected a career with a high demand of conversation. I became an engineer, a perfect choice since engineering tends to be highly technical and requires less chatting. I routinely made my technical presentations and answered complex engineering questions without an interval. All that was required was competence in my field. However, when I was sent to a conferences or industry meetings, I was expected to mingle with colleagues, network, meet clients. I was filled with panic. I only knew one way to start a conversation. Without fail, I would ask every person I met, "What do you do?" After we exchanged career notes, the conversation invariably spurted into agonizing halt. I didn't know how to keep it going. I skipped every social function I could. The ones I couldn't, I arrived late, leave early, and in between, pray that some other person with better skills and a kind heart would rescue me by initiating a conversation. I struggled with the art of conversation throughout my tenure as an engineer. Then I took a break from my career to have my two children. In that interlude, I decided that I was wary of being overweight and self-conscious. I lost 65 pounds. My self-image improved. I wanted to have friends and have fun. To do so, I knew that I would have to acquire better social skills. I took note of those who were successful at cultivating friendships and mingling in crowd. I watched their techniques, timidly began to imitate them. My motivation went into overdrive after my husband and a divorce. Into overdrive after my husband after divorce. I realized that I have to start socializing if I want to meet anyone. Here I was approaching 40 years of age, having been out of my field for a number of years and needing to meet people. I was daunting prospect to say the least. But I realized that acquiring conversation skills wasn't rocket science. I convinced myself it couldn't be that tough or I wouldn't see so many people doing it well. I made it my goal to figure out how to keep a conversation going for longer than 5 minutes. One of my first experiments with small talk was life-changing success. I went to a happy hour at a local night spot with a girlfriend. A man across the room began making eye contact with me. All night we kept exchanging glances, never speaking. My girlfriend prodded me. Deborah, she said, just go over there and say something to him. I replied, oh, I don't know. I don't have anything to say. Besides, if you want to meet me, he would have come over by now. My girlfriend would not relent. She was so adamant that her challenge finally inspired me to go over and introduce myself. As I walked across the room, my heart pounded so loudly I could hear I could hardly hear myself saying hello to the man I now know as Rex. He pulled out of a chair and said he was delighted to meet me. From the inauspicious beginning, we began to date each other, a friendship developed, and I learned a lot about Rex. The most important thing I came to learn, though, was why Rex hadn't approached me at the happy hour. I was certain that his his reluctance was I was certain that his reluctance was an unspoken commentary on some fault of mine. I had to be that I was too tall, that I was still weighted too much, or that I just wasn't his type. I could have been more wrong. It wasn't about me at all, it was about him. He was too shy to approach me. I couldn't believe it. It really turned me my thinking around. For the first time, I understood that there were lots of talented, educated, wonderful people in the world who are incredibly shy. I realized that if my girlfriend hadn't insisted and if I hadn't found my courage, I never would have met a man who became an integral part of my life. No, I didn't marry him, but he did become one of my closest friends. That experience a convert to a convert to small talk. I finally understood that I finally understood what a great tool it could be for building rapport with people. I devoted myself to learning about it, practicing it, helping others become good at it. I started my business, The Fine Art of Small Talk, and have been small talking my way around the country ever since. I have met countless fascinating people and made many friends. My life is now richly populated with a diversity of individuals who bring added meaning and depth to each of my days. My goal in writing this book is to offer what I have learned so that you too can reap the rewards that come from having a repertoire of conversation skills. The techniques, tips, skills in these books are for everyone, not just nerds. I know salespeople who are wonderful at making formal presentation, but who enter a networking event in a cold sweat. I met teachers who can chat with students and colleagues, but have no idea what to say to parents at school functions. Harried yet happy. Stay at home moms are a bundle of entertainment at playgroup but walk away from a junior league meeting or a temple event feeling isolated and disconnected. I know one physician who closed his practice and joined the HMO because despite his gift as a healer, he lacked the conversation skills and confidence to garner new referrals. The list goes on. Competent people from all walks of life need assistance to develop conversation skills. This book will provide you those small talk skills, enhancing your conversation skills, with no doubt improving your quality of life. I think you will be surprised at the potency of small talk. It has an amazing ripple effect. Becoming a good conversationalist will bring new people into your network of friends and colleagues. You will find joy in social events you used to dread, and you will create pathways and channels for new opportunities to present themselves. My dear friend, Rex met an early death a couple of years ago in a car accident in Mexico. It is reminded to me that the risk of engaging someone new in conversation pales in comparison to the risk of driving a car. Rex lived a lot in his 40 plus years. I am grateful that I ventured across the room to become a part of that short life. Take a moment, spend time filling out following winning at small talk worksheet. If you answer yes to most, you are certainly on the right track. If you find yourself responding no to more than a few, it's time to get to work. There are some things, some words which I found where I could improve my English. The main intention of reading the novel, which is named as The Fine Art of Small Talk by Deborah Fine, was to improve my conversation skills, that too initiating a conversation, as well as to improve my conversation skills when I'm in a group of people who are strangers or who are in a different line of business or profession. And yeah, parallelly, I also want to improve my English, so I thought of reading this loudly so that I can improve my passage reading and also mark the important words which I felt it's new or something difficult. So let me go one by one. First thing is trivial. Let me just read out the entire sentence just to get to know what the words signify in this particular sentence. Invariably, executives would scoff at the idea of a housewife's trivial initiative to overcome boredom. Here, trivial means less important. Trivial. Trivial means less important. Then, clandestine. Clandestine. Clandestine here, I will just read out the passage. Then I would get clandestine calls for assistance from folks with prestigious titles. Here, clandestine means secret. Again, I will just read the word with the meaning of the word clandestine. Let me repeat it. Then I would get secret calls for assistance from folks with prestigious titles. Now, the next word is inaptitude. Inaptitude. I will read out the word, entire sentence. I was burdened with poor social skills and embarrassed by my own conversational inaptitude. Here, inaptitude means lack of skill or ability. Again, I was burdened with poor social skills and embarrassed by my own conversational inaptitude means the lack of skill or ability. Done. Then the next word is reticent. Reticent. That means unwilling to share thoughts or feelings. Let me read out the sentence. As a girl, I had been an overweight, a reticent kid who sat invisible in the back of the class. Here, reticent means unwilling to share thoughts or feelings. Again, I will replace with the exact meaning in the sentence. As a girl, I had been an overweight, unwilling to share my feelings or thoughts, who sat invisible in the back of the class. We shall go to the more to the next word. Sputtered, as well as agonizing. Here, sputtered means running weakly or loss of power. Agonizing means tough, stressful, or tough decisions. Agonizing. I will read out the entire sentence. After we exchanged career notes, conversation invariably sputtered to an agonizing halt. I will replace with the meaning of these words, sputtered and agonizing. After we exchanged career notes, the conversation invariably ran weak to a stressful halt. We shall move on to the next word. Daunting. Daunting means something which is scary or intimidating. It was daunting prospect, to say the least. Again, I should again read above few lines to get the context of this word. Here I was, approaching 40 years of age, having been out of my field for a number of years and needing to meet people. It was a daunting prospect, to say the least. Here the word daunting, as I told, was intimidating. So I will just replace it. It was intimidating prospect, to say the least. Relent. Relent means give up, back down, change mind. But my girlfriend would not relent, would not give up, would not back down, or would not change the mind, which made her to meet Rex. Rapport. Rapport here, just the main thing which we must remember here is the spelling of the word which we pronounce as rapport is actually Rapport. If we go just the if we just spell based on the pronounce based on the spelling, it would be rapport. However, when we spell, RT becomes silent, hence the word would be pronounced as rapport. Rapport means a good and a harmonious relationships. Here the word is rapport, which we have already heard. Probably the spelling of the rapport must be remembered. Repertoire. Repertoire means collection. Collection of skills, collection of activity, etc. Collection. I will just read the entire sentence. My goal in writing this book is to offer what I have learned so that you too can reap the afterwards that come from having a repertoire of conversation skills. I will replace the word repertoire with a meaning. My goal in writing this book is to offer what I have learned so that you too can reap the rewards that come from having a collection of conversation skills. Dread. Dread means intense fear or anxiety. I will read the entire sentence. You will find joy in social events you used to dread. I will replace it with the meaning. You will find joy in social events you used to have intense fear or anxiety. Yeah, this completes the entire introduction of the book, which is known as The Fine Art of Small Talk by Deborah Fine. Thank you.